What do you know about being hungry? Dear Tim and Moby, could you please explain what clauses are with some examples? Thank you, Ramya. Sure thing. Every sentence is made up of one or more clauses. That's any description of someone or something performing an action. Every clause contains a subject and a predicate. The subject is whatever's performing the action. Like in the sentence, Tim eats a tasty lunch, Tim is the one doing the eating, so he's the subject of the sentence. The predicate is the verb and any supporting words that describe the action. So, in the same sentence, eats is the verb and eats a tasty lunch is the predicate. Right, Tim eats a tasty lunch is both a clause and a complete sentence. To be complete, a sentence has to contain at least one independent clause. That's any clause that can stand on its own as a complete thought. Moby is a robot, and he never has to eat are both independent clauses because they can stand alone as sentences. They're also called simple sentences, since they're made up of a single clause. Simple sentences are useful for describing all sorts of situations, but can you imagine a story that used only short, simple sentences? Yeah, it'd make sense, but just try reading it out loud. Tim was eating lunch. Moby didn't want any. Moby is a robot. He never has to eat. He sat with Tim. He watched him eat lunch. Doesn't flow very well, does it? Using just one type of clause over and over is bound to put your readers or listeners to sleep. Combinations of different clauses make sentences a lot more compelling. Because Moby is a robot is a dependent or subordinate clause because it can't stand alone as a sentence. It has a subject, Moby, and a predicate, is a robot, but it's not a sentence. Just listen to it out loud. Because Moby is a robot. Right? It sounds like I'm about to say more, because it's not a complete thought. Dependent clauses are sometimes called fragments, since they're not full sentences. To make it into one, we need to join it with an independent clause. A complex sentence joins one or more dependent clauses to an independent clause. Well, I'm not saying they're better than simple sentences, but a mix of simple and complex sentences generally makes for more interesting writing or speech. If you know your clauses, you can use them as building blocks for all kinds of different sentences. Well, for example, you can link up independent clauses with a semicolon. Or you can use coordinating conjunctions to join the two clauses. Those are linking words like and, but, so, or yet. Subordinate clauses can't form a complete sentence on their own, no matter how many you string together. That's because they can only do the work of a noun, adjective, or adverb. A noun clause is a subordinate clause that acts like a noun. In the sentence, Moby wanted to try what Tim was eating, the clause, what Tim was eating, is doing the work of a noun. See, you could replace the clause with a noun like pizza or a pronoun like it. Adjective clauses do the work of adjectives. Just like an adjective, the clause that the robot drooled on modifies a noun, in this case, food. Clauses that tell you when, where, how, or why another clause happens are called adverb clauses. After Tim was done eating tells you when Moby washed the dishes. So that clause is acting like an adverb. Yes, lunchtime. What the what? Moby filled my lunchbox with Energon cubes, so there was no room for my sandwich.